How did Israel kill Yahya Sinwar? Yahya Ibrahim Hassan Sinwar was born on October 19, 1962 in the Khan Yunis refugee camp in the southern Gaza Strip. His family was displaced from the city of Meidel in the northeast of the Strip after Israel occupied it following the Nakba in 1948 and changed its name to Ashkelon. He received his education at Khan Yunis Secondary School for Boys, before joining the Islamic University in Gaza and graduating with a bachelor's degree in Arabic studies. He grew up in difficult circumstances and was affected in his childhood by the repeated attacks and harassment of the residents of the camps by the Israeli occupation. Yahya Sinwar had a prominent student activity during his university studies, as he was an active member of the Islamic Bloc in Palestine. He was first arrested in 1982 for his student activities when he was 20 years old. He was placed under administrative detention for 4 months and was rearrested a week after his release. He remained in prison for 6 months without trial. In 1985, he was arrested again and sentenced to 8 months. On January 20, 1988, he was arrested again and tried on charges related to leading the kidnapping and killing of 2 Israeli soldiers, and killing 4 Palestinians suspected of collaborating with Israel. He was sentenced to 4 life sentences for 126 years. Yahya Sinwar was released in 2011, and was one of more than 1,000 prisoners released in exchange for the Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit in what was called the Wafa al-Arar deal. The deal was concluded after Shalit spent more than 5 years in captivity in Gaza, and Israel failed during its aggression on the Strip at the end of 2008 to free him from captivity. After leaving prison, Sinwar was elected a member of the Hamas political bureau during the movement's internal elections in 2012. He also assumed responsibility for the military wing, the Izz ad-Din al-Qassam brigades, and was tasked with coordinating between the movement's political bureau and the leadership of the brigades. He played a major role in coordinating between the political and military sides of the movement during the Israeli aggression on Gaza in 2014. After the end of this aggression, Sinwar conducted comprehensive investigations and evaluations of the performance of field leaders, which resulted in the dismissal of prominent leaders. In 2015, Hamas appointed him as responsible for the file of Israeli prisoners it holds, and tasked him with leading negotiations regarding them with the Israeli occupation. In the same year, the United States classified him on the list of international terrorists, and Israel placed him on the list of those wanted for liquidation in the Gaza Strip. On February 13, 2017, he was elected head of the movement's political bureau in the Gaza Strip, succeeding Ismail Haniyeh. In March 2021, he was elected as the head of Hamas in Gaza for a second 4-year term in the movement's internal elections. His house was bombed several times, as it was bombed and completely destroyed by occupation aircraft in 2012, during the aggression on the Gaza Strip in 2014, and then during Israeli airstrikes in May 2021. Sinwar is described as a cautious figure, who does not speak much and rarely appears in public. He also possesses high leadership skills and has a strong influence on members of the movement. After Operation Flood of Al-Aqsa on October 7, Yahya Sinwar became the #1 wanted man by Israel, in addition to Mohammed Deif, the commander-in-chief of the Izz ad-Din al-Qassam brigades. Getting rid of the Hamas leader became the most important strategic goal of the Israeli military operation in the Gaza Strip, which it called Iron Swords, as Israeli officials consider him the mastermind of the attack on October 7, 2023. The Israeli Army radio confirmed on Thursday, October 19, 2024, the killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar in Gaza. And this is what we know about the circumstances of his death. A joint statement by the Israeli army spokesman and the Shin Bet said that during an operation carried out by IDF fighters in the Gaza Strip, 3 terrorists were eliminated. The statement said that intelligence information from the Shin Bet and the intelligence service indicated suspicious areas where Hamas leaders might be present. According to military sources, the building where Sinwar was staying was surrounded, and a military vest filled with hand grenades was found on the body. The sequence of events was as follows. According to the Israeli Army radio, at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, a soldier from the 410th Battalion in the Israeli Army spotted a person entering and exiting a house in the Tel al-Sultan neighborhood in Rafah, and an infantry force began moving toward the target on the basis that there were gunmen. At 3 p.m. on the same day, 3 suspicious figures were spotted entering and exiting from one house to another. At that point, it was realized that these were armed men, and it was believed that they were Sinwar's companions who had tried to open the way for him. Then the force opened fire on them with the aim of hitting them. Sinwar's group split up, as he entered one building and the other part of the group entered another building, and Sinwar climbed to the second floor. Then an Israeli tank fired a shell at that building. A platoon commander from the 450th Battalion entered the area surrounding the 2 buildings, and clashes broke out, and he threw grenades at Sinwar and his companions, which led to a loss of communication between them. The force brought in a drone and saw a person later revealed to be Sinwar with an injured hand and a mask, as Sinwar was sitting in the room, and he tried to throw a wooden stick at the drone. After that, the tank fired another shell. The next time the force entered to survey was only this morning, and when they entered and saw the bodies, they noticed that there was a resemblance between one of the bodies and Yahya Sinwar. The body was examined for DNA and dental tests, and military sources said that the results were positive. Israel assassinated Hamas's most prominent leaders, including the movement's military wing commander Mohammed Deif and Khan Yunis brigade commander Rafi Salama, in an airstrike on Gaza last July, and the movement's deputy political bureau chief Salah al-Aruri in a Beirut airstrike last January. Hamas's political bureau chief Ismail haniyeh was also killed in Tehran last July in an attack attributed to Israel, although it has not yet claimed responsibility.